guys, you just caught me digging up some dirt. And seeing as you caught me in the act, I might as well take you on a little journey. We've heard too many millions and billions for one election, especially seeing there's only one party's totted theirs up. So today, we're going to forget about the numbers. I've given myself 10 minutes to convince you that there's policies for everyone in the Labour Manifesto. They may not hold the glitz and glamour of the headlines, but these can and will change your life. Policy for me and you, not in Westminster. 3, 2, 1! Asking the Office for Budget Responsibility to incorporate climate and environmental impacts into its forecast so that the cost of not acting on environmental issues will be factored into every fiscal decision. They will change the criteria a company must meet to be listed on the LSE, the London Stock Exchange, so that any company that fails to contribute to tackling the climate and environmental emergency is delisted, bringing about a radical decentralisation of power in Britain so that local people and communities are given far greater control over their own lives and prospects. Quickly, before you turn into a communist, I will ask that if you hear any policies you'd like to know more about and are interested in the finer details of, hit us up, comment on the video, drop me a message on Twitter and we'll open that conversation up for you. Labour will create an innovation nation, setting a target for 3% of GDP to be spent on research and development, that's right, R&D. By 2030, we will achieve the target by increasing direct support for R&D, and reforming the innovation ecosystem to better crowd in private investment. Tech boom means jobs boom, boom boom means boom boom. We will provide an extra $5.6 billion in funding to improve the standard of flood defences and respond to the increased risk of flooding, prioritising areas at risk in the North West England, Yorkshire and the East Midlands that have been neglected by Conservative investment. No comment, it's about fudging time. Making producers responsible for the waste they create and for the full cost of recycling or disposal, encouraging more sustainable design and manufacturing. A UK Labour government will learn from Wales' example of recycling, and we will also back bottle return schemes. We will invest in three new recyclable steel plants in areas with a proud history of steel manufacturing. Let's restore some purpose back to our communities. Audience task this week. Audience task this week. This week's task is to comment below this video or maybe even share the video on another platform, but the important bit is I want you to share your favourite policy, and if you can, come up with your own policy that you'd like to see the next government implement, that to everyone else may appear small, but to you is huge. Mine would be to increase public spending to sports like five-a-side football and basketball, sports we can all play, and take funding away from sailing and winter sports no one can play. That would be mine. Comment everywhere with your policy ideas, but make sure you tag me and let me know your ideas. Let's burst the conversation open. They will increase mandated health visits for pregnant women, ensure new mothers can have access to a breastfeeding support, and introduce mental health assessments into a maternal health check 6 weeks after birth. This is needed. Labour will invest in children's oral health, tackle childhood obesity and extend the sugar tax to milk drinks. We will ban fast food restaurants near schools and enforce stricter rules around the advertising of junk food and levels of salt in food. We will take action to significantly reduce infant deaths and ensure families who lose a baby receive appropriate bereavement support as well as protections at work. The provision of additional care packages means we can support autistic people and people with learning disabilities to move out from inappropriate inpatient hospital settings and provide support in their own home. People with autism or learning difficulties are not ill, they are no different to us. We will take action to end off-rolling, removing the perverse incentives for schools to let pupils fall out of the system by making schools accountable for the outcomes of people who leave their roles. The person is more important than their stats. We need to get back to this kind of society. We will establish public inquiries into historical injustices, including blacklisting and Orgrave, and ensure the second phase of the Grenfell inquiry has the confidence of all those affected. The fact this even has to be a policy is so sad. Pubs are community hubs, but 18 are shutting each week in Britain. Labour will list pubs as assets of community value, so community groups have the first choice to buy when they go up for sale. Oi, oi! Labour will build a properly funded, professionally staffed National Youth Service and will guarantee every young person has access to local, high-quality youth work. It's the difference between crime and no crime for some. It's the difference between contributing or sitting in a cell and sucking out. It could be the difference between life or death. These are life-changing policies. Reviewing the fit and proper person test for potential directors and owners of football clubs and ensuring supporters' trusts have a proper role in how the clubs are run. A Labour government will legislate for accredited football supporters' trusts to be able to appoint and remove at least 2 club directors and purchase shares with clubs when clubs change hands. We will regulate safe standing in stadiums and ensure that a proportion of the Premier League's television rights income is spent on grassroots football facilities. Yes! Introducing statutory bereavement leave, guaranteeing workers time off to grieve the loss of close family members or from miscarriage. Introducing 4 new bank holidays, celebrating our 4 pension saints. Reviewing family-friendly employment rights, including rights to respond to family emergencies at work. Labour will tackle excessive working hours. Within a decade, we will reduce the average full-time weekly working hours to 32. That's right, not everyone on the NHS is going to be working 4 days as of the 13th of December. This is a national average and it's important that we work towards it. We will amend the Companies Act, requiring companies to prioritise long-term growth while strengthening protections for stakeholders, including small suppliers and pension funds. We will tackle late payments that leave small businesses waiting months to be paid, including banning late payers from public procurement. We will introduce a broader public interest test to prevent hostile takeovers and asset stripping, weakening our industrial base and destroying treasured homegrown companies, and we will give workers a voice on public bodies such as the Competition and Markets Authority. We will reinstate the access to elected office fund to enable disabled people to run for office. The Conservatives' digital-only approach to welfare and support is excluding vulnerable people. Labour will end the digital barrier and offer telephone, face-to-face and outreach support. They will aim to recruit 5,000 additional advisors to help deliver this. We will scrap the Conservatives' bogus definition of affordable, set as high as 80% of the market rates, and replace it with a definition linked to local incomes. This is important. These council and housing association homes will be more affordable than market housing and built to higher standards. We will end the conversion of office blocks to homes that sidestep planning permission through permitted development. We will bring in a national levy on second homes used as holiday homes to help deal with the homelessness crisis, so that those who have done well from the housing market pay a little bit more to help those without one. We will re-establish regional government offices to make central government more attuned to our English regions, to support our regional investments and to enable the shift of political power away from Westminster. A Labour government will repeal the Fixed Term Parliament Act, which has stifled democracy and propped up weak governments. We will maintain 650 constituencies and respond objectively to future independent boundary reviews. We will stop MPs from taking second paid jobs with limited exemptions to maintain professional registrations like nursing. We will replace ACOBA, the Business Appointments Committee, with a sufficiently resourced and empowered new body governed by a diverse and representative board and established in law. We will also overhaul the system of ministerial appointments to public office. So no more people going from the top of BBC to the top of the Tory party, from the top of the Tory party to the top of the BBC, back to the BBC to the Tory party, back to the BBC to the Tory party. Labour will change how politics is funded, banning donations from tax avoiders and tax evaders, and closing loopholes that allow the use of shell companies to funnel dark money into politics. Introduce a War Powers Act to ensure that no Prime Minister can bypass Parliament to commit to conventional military action. Unlike the Tories, they will implement every single recommendation of the Chilcot inquiry. Conduct an audit into the impact of Britain's colonial legacy to understand our contribution to the dynamics of violence and insecurity across regions previously under British colonial rule. We will establish a judge-led inquiry into our country's alleged complicity in rendition and torture and the operation of secret courts. Immediately suspend the sale of arms to Saudi Arabia for use in Yemen and to Israel for arms used in violation of the human rights of Palestinian civilians. And conduct a root and branch reform of our arms export regime so ministers can never again turn... Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! So ministers can never again... Look what you've fucking done. Exports. So ministers can never again turn a blind eye to British-made weapons being used to target innocent civilians. We will reform everything. No, we will reform the international rule-based order to secure justice and accountability for breaches of human rights and international law, such as the bombings of hospitals in Syria, the illegal blockade of the Gaza Strip, the use of rape as a weapon of war against the Rohingya community in Myanmar, and their indiscriminate bombardment of civilians in Yemen. We will act immediately to urge negotiations towards a political resolution to conflict wherever it rises, including in the Middle East and the Sub-Saharan Africa. This isn't even half, probably not even a third of all the policies in the manifesto. It took me a little bit longer than 10 minutes to tell you, but I hope this has given you a snapshot into the kind of lives we can all lead in the future. We know us. We know we're capable of anything when the starting grid isn't checkered. We know we deserve better. We know we could do better. We know we could do better ourselves because we know ourselves better than anyone. Isn't it about time that we voted for a party willing to give us the keys instead of foreign investments looking for cheap short-term profits? Isn't it time we voted for us? Isn't it time you liked, commented and subscribed to YakChat? This has been YakChat. I've been Yak. I hope you've been yourself. Peace out.